What is going on, fabulous souls? How are y'all doing? It's been forever since I last uploaded something here on YouTube. I came home here in the Philippines from my work in Japan. I came back, I think that was 2017, so just last year. Anyway, let me begin by, well, talking a bit briefly about what you're going to expect from the video. I'm pretty sure you've heard about the word boho, or you've seen or heard this word before, probably in Pinterest, Tumblr, or any other websites. Well, essentially, boho is just the shortened informal term used to describe the word bohemian. And this style is actually derived from the 1960s to the 1970s lifestyle of the free-spirited hippies, like what you call them. And right now, boho became fresh and famous for millennials and also non-millennials nowadays. As you can see, boho can be integrated in a lot of stuff, like for example, interior design, fashion, and all other common cultural aspects. Hashtag very Instagrammable, right? For this particular video though, we will only be talking about boho for interior design, focusing on the basic must-haves for your room to be considered as boho styled. And I've also considered taking up 3 points that you need to think about when you decide what to get, how much it costs you, and how to style it in your room. Number 1 is about scale. When I say scale, I mean the size of your room. This video will focus on rooms that are small to medium sized. I mean, not a lot of people out there own really big bedrooms. Like for example, me. I kind of live in a very small house, and that doesn't stop me from designing whatever I want inside my bedroom. And we also don't want to put a lot of decor inside your room that'll make it look stuffy and space consuming, because honestly, that frankly defeats the purpose of redecorating a place. It's just making it look more closed and, you know, crowded. So we're gonna try to avoid that. That's why I'm considering designing rooms that are small to medium sized. Remember, we are redecorating, not recluttering. So if you got a big ass bedroom complete with double doors, full wall windows, and a balcony to boot, well, good for you, honey. But honestly, this video could still be of help to you in case, you know, you wanted to try something to regulate or moderate the number of items or decor that you want to put in your big ass bedroom. Lucky. And now we go to point number 2, which is of course our budget. So wherever you're living right now, whether you're a student or whether you're already working as an employee, then we really must consider how much money you're willing to put out, you know, for the designs. I'd like to point this out as designing in installments. And quite frankly, I don't know how much these products would cost in your own country. So you'll also have to do your part here and research about it. I'll probably drop a price here in my country. So I'm here in the Philippines, and the prices that I'm gonna mention are gonna be named in peso. I'm also going to include the place where I've bought these things, but you have to check them out in the description below this video, because I can't mention that right now because I don't want this video to be too promotional. And the final point that we have for today is utility versus ornamentality. So wow, big words, right? When I say utility, is that these are the things that could still be of use to you and also contribute to the overall boho-ness of your room. So this means you're going to consider items that not only looks good, but will also have some beneficial help for you in the future. But of course, there will still be some other elements or decor that will only serve ornamental. But hey, it's essential, right? You're redecorating, so that's great. And now, without further ado, let me introduce you to the Beginner on a Budget's Guide to Decorating Your Small Boho-Inspired Bedroom. That title got a little bit long. So, before you plan on redecorating your room, let me just give you some reminders, and please take note of this. Number 1, clean up. Remove your clutter, all the unnecessary things that you can get rid of. Please clean them. We are trying to remove all the clutter in your room and replace it with something that is, you know, more beneficial. for you. It'll help your room breathe. It'll help you breathe in it. So go ahead, get cleaning. It's also not a good idea to start redecorating a messy room. So yeah, clear it up for now. And who knows, this is also a great time for you to reposition your things, you know? Like, know where to put your bed, which angle would you like to face it, which wall are you going to place it on. So yeah, try to reorganize a bit in your room. Okay, number 2, you don't need to replace everything in your room that is not boho according to classifications, because this will probably give you a hard time redecorating your next theme of the bedroom, and it will definitely become more expensive for you, and we are on a tight budget, see? Okay, number 3, I'd like to remind you to be creative, because when you say boho, there are tons of neat elements that you can put inside your room that are handmade. I like crafts. I hope you also develop this skill of creativity. I assure you it's gonna be fun. Okay, number 4, you need to conceptualize. Try to envisage where you're going to put this thing inside your room. Envision. Where you're going to put the certain element that is not in conflict with another element inside the room. So try to conceptualize for a bit. And lastly, number 5, enjoy it. I had so much fun redecorating my room. Actually, I'm not yet finished, but quite frankly, I am enjoying this so much. Alright, after considering all of those reminders that I've pointed out, now let's try to discuss what makes boho boho. In a form, we're going to discuss something about concept ingredients of being boho. So what are these elements, or what are these things that constitute to something being boho? Well, number 1, you get lights. Tons of them. Tons of lights, especially for interior design, especially lights that are particularly off-white. Small strings and series of lights. And trust me, it will feel Christmassy, especially for those people who do not understand the concept. You know what you're getting into, right? Okay, number 2, you get bunch of patterns, especially mandala pattern. I hope you're familiar with it. So there can be a lot of patterns that can be put into the boho inspiration. Patterns that can be repetitive are boho. Some that looks like tribal or Aztec-y, those can also be classified as boho, but probably leaning towards that other classification, Aztec boho or beach boho. Like, the design behind you is very beach boho because I love the beach. And these patterns should be at least vibrant and colorful, or if not, you should have a bold and distinct pattern which makes it boho. And if you like combining patterns, like if you simply adore seeing something with patterns and not just plains all the time, you've come to the right place, because combining patterns with other patterns, as long as it doesn't become too overwhelming, is so boho. Okay, number 3, you get feathers. Feeling ticklish? Well, get used to it. Unless, of course, you're allergic to it, then I suggest you not include this element for your boho inspiration. You cannot put this ingredient to the mix. You know, you can consider other elements. You can opt not to do with this specific kind of element, but the boho in all its entirety would feel incomplete. Feathers, baby. Feathers. The 4th one, you get tassels and fringes. Oh, I just can't stress enough this fact that I love tassels and fringes. Well, this is actually a huge and very crucial, important concept ingredient for your room to look boho. Actually, not just your room. You know, a piece of fashion that has fringes and tassels make it so boho, and it's so adorably chic. But since we're talking about interior design, you're going to need to hang it, choose which parts you're going to decorate it with tassels and fringes, and I think you're going to have a lot of fun putting them up. And next, we have nature. Leaves, twigs, other wood forms, flowers. Deer with antlers and its skull counterpart can also be considered boho. You incorporate a lot of Native American concepts into this design. Try to think teepees or totem poles, arrows, bows, crystals, all that sort of jazz. But just please do not put a pentagram or a summoning circle. We are not summoning any angels or demons here. That is so not boho. Alright, now that we've covered almost everything, let's now go to the things, these element must-haves that you are required to have in your room for it to be considered very chic and boho. First one, you have string lights or fairy lights. Well, I didn't put this in the #1 position if it's not the crucial one or if it's not in one of the main boho elements. For the scale or size of your room, considering our first point, you have to decide on the length of fairy lights depending on how you'll put it in your room. I mean, your call, because we all have different measurements or sizes of small to medium rooms. And second, of course, do not forget your budget. Here in the Philippines, they're relatively cheap. They only cost about 100 to 300 depending on how long it is. Like for example, the first fairy lights that I bought were 3 meters and it was just around 120 pesos. If you want something even longer, then yeah, you're gonna have to save up for that. Prepare around 300 to 400 pesos at max. But once again, I have no idea how much of these fairy lights cost in your country, but here in mine, it's very affordable. And for the third consideration point, I think you're gonna use this. I'm using it because whenever there's a blackout here, or for example a storm surge is hurtling through over Metro Manila, then we often use these candles. You get me, Filipinos, right? We usually use these candles, but if you do have, you know, fairy lights, and especially if they are battery operated, my goodness, you don't know how much comfort and use it will bring you. And of course, it will also be helpful, especially on evenings when you feel like you want to dim everything down a little bit. Alright, second element, you have Dreamcatchers. I love these babies. They come in different styles, patterns, shapes, sizes, which means they can fit even in your small room. What's best about this is that you can even create your own Dreamcatcher. You see this Dreamcatcher? This I made on my own. I did not buy this one. If you can see, I really messed up the net here, but it was fun to make. It was actually quite enjoyable because you get to learn new things every day. Well, I might make a video making another one soon, so stay tuned, okay? They're also quite affordable and easy to find here in the Philippines. Now, for the use, well, if you believe it only as ornamental, or you know, you just hang it up there and it doesn't serve any purpose, then it will be. But believe it or not, I think it works for me. You know, it says Dreamcatcher, right? Do you know that that net thing, it's supposed to catch bad dreams and get it stuck there. But the good dreams flow through it and down to the feathers, so that when you dream, only the good dreams flow when you sleep. I don't know about you, but really it works, because these nights I've had nothing but good dreams. It's quite amazing, actually. I just hope you're not allergic to feathers, okay? Patterned beach towels or tapestries are also our next element that you must have. You can drape these beauties up on the wall. You know, it's like giving your room a very specialized hanging wallpaper. However, these tapestries may be too large for small bedrooms. But if you feel like you can make it work, yeah, sure. Look at mine. I mean, I've draped one of the beach towels that I bought here in the Philippines on the wall right beside where I sleep. When you're considering of buying throw pillows, here's a quick trick. Instead of buying the entire throw pillow that has a unique boho design or pattern on them, you know what, just buy a plain one. And what you do is you buy a pillow sheet or a pillow cover that is boho inspired. This way you can replace your sheets, you know, wash them, fold them, while still sticking to your room's theme. Also, it will save you a lot of money when in the future you decide to change the theme of your room again. You know, I don't necessarily use duvets or blankets because, yeah, I sweat easy and I live in a tropical country. And the last element that you must have are light-emitting ornaments for flat surfaces. So when you say flat surface, it can be like a desk or on top of a drawer, on top of your, you know, your wardrobe, your clothes, cabinet. those are flat surfaces. I mean, as long as you can reach them. You can put these light-emitting ornaments on top of them, and I must say they work pretty well. I usually put mine on top of my work desk, which is also the top of my clothes cabinet. They're very useful when I write late at night on top of it, because that way I don't really need a study lamp. These amazing light sources are definitely very useful for me. However, they can get a bit pricey depending on the item that you're going to buy. For example, in my case, the most expensive light-emitting ornament that I own is the cinema light box, which costs around $600, and it's quite a small light box. There are even like bigger light boxes. Bigger means more expensive, much pricier. I also own this enchanting moon lamp. I actually bought this online, and this one costs around $500, and it ships overseas, so it took a long while before it got here. However, take a look at it. It's so nice. I've had tons of neat photos with it, and it just looks like a 3D representation of the real thing. And the last one I have are 2 pieces of letter lights for my nickname. They're 200 pesos per letter here in the Philippines. So if you have a long name, or even like a more complicated or a longer nickname, good luck about that. It's probably gonna cost you a lot. Well, of course, those are just the 5 main elements that you should at least have in your bedroom. But there are also other ornamental elements that you would like to consider. For example, string light with clips. I got mine also online. Gladly, it's not from overseas, so it pretty much arrived here quickly. The trick here is that you can print photographs and then you can clip it. It's so nice. You'll like this idea more than I do, I bet. And like what I've mentioned before, you can also get ornaments with crystals and wood. Like what I've mentioned before, you can have vials of crystals, aroma diffusers, or even crowns or tiaras adorned with diamonds or crystals. They can be used for decorating your boho-inspired bedroom. And if you also play the guitar like me, those are boho plus points. Well, I don't really play well. You know, I just know basic chords, but when you get the rhythm, it's quite easy. And speaking of wood, check out that very sexy piece of wood behind me. That's actually my bed, and this is one of my biggest projects of 2018. I've saved enough for it because the previous bunk bed that my sister and I were using was actually quite old and very much broken at that time, so I had to design a new one. I'd like it to be wood so it'd be more sturdy. Right now I am so loving it because I've designed how the drawers are going to be placed at the bottom, and I've also included a cute little pull-out there in case I've got guests here who want to stay the night. I mean, my sister's enjoying the up bunk too. And of course, all of my boho dreams are coming true because it's wood. It can go well with a lot of boho-inspired designs and decor. Have you seen these awesome bunk bed ideas on Tumblr and Pinterest? You can have your bed on top and at the bottom, even if, let's say for example, if you just sleep alone in your bedroom, you can put a lot of things under there and it's space saving. You should check it out. Another ornamental element that you can put inside your bedroom are Native American items. My next project is either to craft my own or purchase a set of bow and arrows, like real wooden bow and arrows. I just don't know how to make them. I would like to design it with, you know, with crystals, feathers, and beads. Something that would make it similar to a Dreamcatcher, but instead of a net or a wood and a net in the middle, it would be just an arrow. And I've been saving up for quite some time now to get myself an authentic Native American war chief headdress. Have you seen those? Like the amazing set of feathers that you can wear on your head. But you know what? They are ultimately so expensive. I saw one in Japan and it's so expensive. But of course you can have or consider other options. Let's say for example you can opt to let cloth cascade from the ceiling to your bed, so it kind of makes you look like you're staying or sleeping in a teepee. However, the only downside that is going to happen here is that your room will probably appear smaller on the inside and cramped. So this style, of course, again, is up to your own judgment. If you think that this idea is going to make your bed, you know, look more artsy and stylish, but it's cramping up the space, then might as well consider other options again. Also, you can have more dangles. Another one of my future projects for the bedroom is to get string curtains, especially white ones, so I can drape them over there on both sides of the bottom part of the bunk bed. Once again, it's not that expensive here in the Philippines. They cost, you know, quite less. However, I'm still thinking if I hang them there, it might look space consuming. So I'm still thinking about it. What do you think, guys? And lastly, of course, try to incorporate more textures and fabrics into your room. If you put a boho-ish looking floor rug or carpet on the floor of your bedroom without compromising its space or without making too much of a fuss, whether it's going to look cramped up or not spacey enough, then please do it. Go for it. It's actually quite amazing to see a lot of textiles or fabric, especially ones with pattern in your bedroom, to consider it as boho. But of course, you just have to be very, very mindful of the price. You know, I don't think there are any cheap carpets. Cheap carpets could get you this kind of feeling or this kind of texture that is not comfortable when you step on it. So yeah, try to consider that as well. And same goes for window curtains. You know, you can get a plain semi-sheer looking curtain and then maybe drape over some hanging coins, you know, like the ones that belly dancers usually put around their waist, but put them on your curtains. It will look amazing. You can also put your fairy lights there. It's just gonna be absolutely spectacular. And there you have it. I hope you got what you came for. Shoot me some comments down below if you have any questions or concerns. I'd be happy to answer them. Also, fabulous souls know better because they know how to hit that like button. And they become the best when they click subscribe. And that's all for me, guys. Now get out there and keep being fabulous. Until next time, Saki is out. You're on.